Yo, what's going on, everyone? It's your boy DLloyd. So the Boston Celtics are a team that many regards as a team that could potentially be in the running to appear in the NBA Finals this upcoming season, right? But with that said, I think they could improve the roster a little bit, and I am not alone with that same sentiment because Bleacher Report's Greg Swartz, he floated around this potentially huge trade idea that I want to talk to you guys about. Now, this is the trade that he is proposing, right? The Boston Celtics will move Gordon Hayward, Romeo Langford, the rookie, right? They will also move a lottery-protected 2020 draft pick to Oklahoma City in exchange for Steven Adams and Dennis Schroeder. Now, immediately I think about it, and I'm like, how can this benefit both teams, right? Because both teams are going to be wanting to get something out of this deal. And this is basically what I came up with. For OKC, it's simple. Steven Adams doesn't really want to be there, right? OKC, regardless of what they say, OKC's in rebuild mode. They are trying to collect as many draft picks as possible. If they had a lot of draft pick offers for Chris Paul would be gone by now. He wouldn't even be on the roster. So you get a draft pick, lottery protected draft pick 2020. Boston shouldn't be in the lottery after this trade, right? So you should get that draft pick in 2020. You have essentially a draft pick this year in Romeo Langford, who you could try out, see if you like, all that good stuff, right? You get rid of Steven Adams, who's the headache, which in turn makes your team a little bit worse, right? But hey, you don't mind choking a little bit because you definitely want to get the best draft pick. You move Dennis Schroeder. Dennis Schroeder now going to Boston. What does Boston gain out of Dennis Schroeder? Well, you gain a sixth man who could come off of the bench. And Dennis Schroeder gave you, 15 points a game last season. Dennis Schroeder's a guy who could come in and do the same thing with Boston. He could lead that second unit and come in and get points when Kemba Walker comes out of the game. So I think that's a good move. But for Boston, you lost Al Horford. That is a huge loss. Who are you really replacing him with, especially this season? Enes Kanter, solid center. You know, I'm a Kentucky alum. I love Enes Kanter, right? I have to support my former Wildcats, right? But at the same time, we know he does not play a lick. And when I say lick, like he doesn't play an ounce of defense. Like Enes Kanter in defense, it's like he's allergic to playing defense, right? He doesn't play any defense at all. So you need somebody who's defensive minded. Steven Adams. What does he do best? What is his primary objective on the court? He's going to be able to play defense for you. He's going to be able to lock down, protect that paint, and grab boards. And this Kanter is a guy who's going to grab boards and get points. But you could get a guy in Steven Adams who I think could do, that, and he could still score for you also. So I think having a guy in a presence like Steven Adams is more valuable than having a guy like Enes Kanter. But you could still have Enes Kanter coming off of the bench and still rotating in certain matchups, and he could still be a problem. But you pair that with the Steven Adams, you pair all of that with Dennis Schroeder coming off of the bench for Kemba Walker, you now allow more room because Gordon Hayward, yes, he could go down to OKC, but Gordon Hayward is a guy who, we've seen him in preseason. He hasn't looked as bad as he did at times last season, but he just, for whatever reason, this doesn't seem like it's the perfect match in Boston. And I don't know if it was the injury. I can't. I think a lot of Boston fans are frustrated with the situation, right? Because you don't know why, the guy that we've seen in Utah hasn't been the same guy that we've seen. Was Kyrie Irving the problem? Obviously we'll figure it out early in the season. But if you get off to any type of slow start or you feel like you can improve your roster by making a deal like this, I think you do it. You give up the draft pick for next season and a draft pick basically in Langford this season, but I think it benefits your team a lot. So this proposed trade by Bleacher Report's Greg Swartz, I'm all for it, man. I definitely think Boston should consider something like that, especially as they, look at and observe their team early in the season and they feel like their front court could use an upgrade. I think this is the trade right here that you go with. Maybe you have to give a little bit extra, but you go after Steven Adams if your front court looks somewhat suspect, because as you get into the season and if you do make the finals, you're looking at these other teams in the Western Conference who have their front court, ready. You may need to improve yours. Steven Adams is right there. But you guys let me know how you guys feel about this trade proposal from Bleacher Report in the comment section below. Do you think Boston should look at going after a guy like Steven Adams? Do you think they are just fine right now with Enes Kanter, Taco Fall, all these other guys that have in there? Or are you like me, think they really should go after Steven Adams? I do. I think they should definitely more than consider. I think they should be on the phone trying to get something done. But you guys let me know how you guys feel about it in the comment section below. It's your boy DLloyd. I'm going to see y'all next time. Peace.